So how do you see the state of online gambling right now?
I see the state of online gambling as blowing up. It's been really popular for our youth, for our adults, and even for our elderly population. And they're moving away from the brick and mortar casinos and moving to the much more convenient online platforms.
And much more convenient. How key is that part of it?
Well, when things are convenient and they're easily accessible, we're more likely to engage in it. And if gambling goes from something recreational to problematic, it can have some really significant financial devastation on a family.
So then when we hear about these court rulings that could lead to bigger games in Ontario, what do you think when you hear that?
More access makes more gambling, which can create financial distress. It can cause relational distress. Sometimes we mistake gambling as a financial addiction, but really the impact it has on relationships and our ability to concentrate and engage in other activities and just be present in the moment are all significantly negatively impacted.
Yeah, what do you think is the biggest misunderstanding that we have about gambling addiction?
The biggest misunderstanding in what way?
And just do you think because you say that it's not entirely a financial addiction.
Correct.
What is it then?
Well, money can be our way to access our dopamine hit. If we're struggling with maybe stressful situations or we need to escape or we're, suffered maybe childhood trauma or even adult trauma, and we are able to escape from those problems or those feelings for a while through gambling, then we may be more inclined to go back to that to get that same relief. Very similar to people who struggle with chemical addictions.
Okay, so in the counseling business, how busy have you been lately?
Well, we're always busy, and our doors are always open to people who want to make changes to chemical and behavioral addictions. I would say in the last 4 to 6 months, our gambling program has significantly increased. I think that many people from the iGaming platform have noticed that there's been some financial distress and have even been caught, and we talked about this earlier, you and I, maybe been caught or maybe just at their limits financially and had to come clean to family members and have walked through our doors to maybe consider making changes to their gambling.
Yeah, that part of it is interesting to me because over the last 4 to 6 months you're seeing a bump, but online gambling has been really popular for the last several years now.
That is correct.
Why do you think it's taken so long for these people to end up speaking with you?
Because you can really hide gambling and you can hide financial distress for a really, really long time. You kind of borrow from this pot to pay this pot, and you maybe miss bills and maybe just pay partial bills, and you can really finesse finances for quite a long time before it just becomes overwhelming and unmanageable.
Now, I would never ask you to get into any specific cases, but what kind of things are people telling you when they come for help now?
Telling me that suicide rate is very high among people who struggle with gambling. So we have to be really careful and address people who have some suicidal ideation and create safety plans and help support them. Like I said, it's not a financial addiction, although finances might be a really, really big sticking point for people. So we can help them manage their finances, and we also support family members. So you may not be the person who is struggling with gambling, but it might be your husband or your wife. We also support the family members. So we always want to make sure we help them protect their remaining finances to prevent further distress or further complication.
You mentioned how easy it is to hide.
Yes.
What kind of signs should family members or loved ones be looking out for, do you think?
I think some really ones that stick out for me right now are, maybe they changed their password for their phone, or they're hiding bank statements, or you're finding bank statements hidden in certain places. They're maybe not as open about their financial position. There might be interesting mail that comes in, that bank cards or credit cards, or you might be getting emails. So things like that. Might be some yellow to red flags. It might be an opportunity to have some conversations with your partner about it.
Are you seeing a lot of sports fans coming in lately?
Definitely seeing a lot of sports fans who think that, just because they may have had a history of playing the game, have better knowledge or better understanding on how to bet, And I think that the industry really plays on that and uses that as a way to pull people in.
Do you watch sports?
I do.
So then if you watch sports, you know all about the ads that are all over the boards at hockey games and on the outfield fence at Blue Jays games. And just, it feels like every other commercial on TV during a game is a gambling ad. What do you think when you see all of that?
I think that, well, when I think about it, there's my son, 20 years old. He is, likes to dabble in a little bit of sports betting. So it can sometimes concern me that the industry is really pulling on our youth and really trying to pull them in and get them hooked. There was a point where there were so many celebrities and really like sports icons that, if they're...
Gretzky was in one of the ads, right?
Absolutely. And not to name any names, but to understand that, these were very important people in the community, and we look to them as icons and we look to them as representatives, and they kind of let us down by saying, hey, this is okay, do this, you're fine.
So what do you think is the path forward here then, April? Like, is this something that can be done responsibly, or like, can the genie be put back into the bottle? I'm just so curious about where you see this going.
I think there needs to be some more parameters put into place to be able to really, I guess, kind of like contain it. I think that there needs to be more people at the table making some decisions before we start to release any more options for people, youth, elderly, adults. I also think that it is a small percentage of people that do struggle with problematic gambling, and many people can do it recreationally without being a problem. So we have to be mindful of that as well. But preventative is always going to be the cheapest, and it's always going to be very, very effective. So getting to these youth before it becomes a problem, we do that. We go into the schools, we go into the community, we talk about gambling as young as grade 5 because 8-year-olds are gambling.
8-year-olds are gambling?
They are. Maybe not with money, which is what we gamble with, but things that are important for them, right?
Wow. Okay. So it's, that 8-year-olds, really?
Yes.
You're seeing that? Okay. So if we continue down this path, how busy do you think you're going to be?
I'll always have a job, unfortunately. And that's one thing I say to clients when I meet with them is my goal and your goal together is to never see each other again. How do we make that happen?